MAME phase.
So, hello and welcome to what should be another short Twitch stream where I'm playing games in MAME. So I'm playing arcade games and playing some home games. It's going to be a bit of a mixed stream this time, unlike the last one where I just played some arcade games. I've got a few lined up, well, a few in mind that I'd like to play, but if there are people in the chat who wish to suggest other games, then I may look at them too. And we have Mitchell as the person in the chat right now, so hello Mitchell, welcome. I'm just getting this one off to a quick start, so if anybody joins in a bit, I'll try and say hello, but otherwise, let's dive in straight with the game. And today's first game is Mega Phoenix. Now, if you're familiar with arcade games, you probably know of Phoenix, you know, the 80s classic, with a bit of a confusing development history, but, you know, most people recognise the game. It was heavily bootlegged. But yeah, this was a 1991 game from Dynamic, which is an unofficial sequel. I don't think they had any license to make a Phoenix game or to call it Phoenix, but that's exactly what they did. And this was on a lot of home platforms, and the home platform versions are probably a lot more common than this arcade release. But the arcade release is kind of interesting. It's like a cross between the various different 16-bit versions of the game on its own unique arcade platform, which was used to power a few other Dynamic games, but it's not the same as the home platform that the game is on in any way. It uses a TMS processor to do a lot of the video tasks. Very similar hardware to what was used by Little Robin, which is why that Yo-Yo spell prototype runs on the same hardware. And the only other game I think we found is Hammer Boy. I'm playing quite badly at the moment. So yeah, not a very common platform. Probably one that didn't really see any use outside of Spain. I don't know if any of these games even got exported outside of Spain. Anyway, I think I'd better just kill this credit off and hope for a better start next time, because this is not going too well. Come on, when you want something to get you, just get you. There we go. Dive on me. There we go. Right. So yeah, this is one I did the emulation of some years back and found it kind of interesting because, well, until it showed up, there wasn't much record of these games existing. People thought, oh, maybe they'd been created as prototypes, but eventually a board did show up in Spain, got dumped, and it's relatively easy to get running. The sound's probably the trickiest part. There's some initial concern over possible protection because there's a PIC microcontroller on there. but turned out that wasn't even a protected PIC microcontroller, and the games aren't really well protected anyway. It's just used for I/O. I think they had protection in mind, but never really developed it fully. So we were quite lucky. The game is basically Phoenix. You've got your different waves. You've got the standard wave, then you've got this, the egg wave here, where if you can kill them quickly enough before they hatch, it's a bit easier. Shoot them straight in the middle for bonus points, or shoot the wings off. Oh, yeah. Don't get hit by what they've got. Be quiet. But yeah, you've seen the formula, and this really just stick pretty close to the original Phoenix formula, just with modernised graphics and a bit more pace to it, I think. But yeah, you have to get the hits right straight on to shoot them. But yeah, it's now we get to the beware of the Mega Phoenix. And there we go. This is not quite in the arcade original Phoenix game. They've added this Mega Phoenix, which is the game's called Mega Phoenix. So I guess why not add a Mega Phoenix? It drops eggs on you, and you have to try and shoot it without without getting hit by the eggs. And even the eggs kill you even when they're exploding. Pretty than it looks. You can shoot the eggs if you're skilled enough. It requires precision, and you can avoid everything else at the same time. Have we got we've got a follower, so Celebros, something boss. I didn't quite catch it in time. Well, welcome anyway. It's like Celebros or something. If you're in the chat, feel free to say hello. Forgot that only appears on the other monitor at the other side. And look over there. I've moved things around a little bit since in previous streams, so it's like, where is everything? But yeah, unless you can hit it in the middle, this goes on a bit. You can hear the screen, yeah. You can hear the screams when I actually get a proper hit in. And that round splits up. But yeah. Seabola Boss. Okay, so I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but Seabola Boss. Welcome. It's good to see you. How did you find the stream then? Was it post it on Twitch, or have you been subscribed a while and just no, you only just followed, sorry. And I noticed you just followed. Have you been watching previous streams? Hey Cinemax, welcome. That's what I mean to say. Are you one of the YouTube regulars? Most of my streams have been on YouTube. So if you've hopped over from there, that's quite good to know, because I'd quite like to have the audience on both sides, just so that if I pick to choose on stream on Twitch, the people are still there to watch on YouTube, and vice versa. I didn't get the power, did I? At the end of once you beat that, once you beat the boss, the mothership, the flagship, you do get a pout. That's the only time you get pouts in this game, and if you lose it, you lose it. You can build them up, but yeah, it seems an odd design choice. But you are meant to pick up the pout and destroy the boss, and I got a little bit distracted there. But it's good to see a few faces in the chat anyway. So, there any games anybody would like to see? If they're on my list of ones I know are going to run okay, I may have a look at them. I do have one thing I'd like to show myself in a bit, although it may not make it into MAME until somebody else takes a look at it. So let's just play through this remaining life on this credit first. They sound like almost like the gators in Wacky Gator when you hit them. Although they go munch, not ah. Anyway, yes. I don't really think the game needs a continue feature, but it's got one anyway. There are a few games like that, which have continue features where you're wondering why. I mean, Techie Packy from Popeland is another one where you kind of think it doesn't need that continue feature, but it has it anyway. Yeah, there is a shield if you press shield button, but if you have to remember to press the shield button in time, Mitchell, and I was very good at forgetting to press the shield button. Also, when you use the shield, you're stuck in place for a moment, so it's not always beneficial. Anyway, that was say Mega Phoenix from Dynamic, a rather rare arcade game. Now I'm going to fire up a bootleg that's been in MAME for a while. A bootleg of a game I quite like. So this is Booby Kids, which is a hack of Kid no Ho Daisakusen, an Ichibutsu game. Now the home games, I think it was the MS port, or I think had the title of Booby Kids, but this arcade version is a bootleg with the title that's been hacked to make it look like that. The protection's been removed and everything else. But yes, we'll fire it up and have a play. This is one I like to come back to every now and again. It's one of those dig holes games. Dig holes, get the treasure, and clear the maze. Obviously it's a bit like, you play Space Panic, but Space Panic is side on. This is sort of top down almost. Bit like the old Sega Digger game and things like that, but with more to do. I mean, there's a whole maze. I think I did this when I did a maze game stream on YouTube too, because oh no, I did it when I did I do it on the digging stream actually? I may have done it a few times, but it's a game I do quite like. I usually play the original version, not the bootleg. You've got the doors to block them off for a second. But I thought, you know what? Well, I've got other reasons, but I thought I'd fire with the bootleg for now. Note you nicely land on the treasure when you jump off the spring there. It's a nice little helpful proximity to the spring. Get the gun right to fire. But, it seems like a very well designed game. I've always rather enjoyed it. Now there is a treasure counter in the top corner, so that tells me I've got see, I land on the treasure. Now I've got one bit left, and then I get the key, which is there, and I go through the door. Yeah, I do try and do that to Cinemax. I'm always looking for the more obscure games, or not maybe one some bigger manufacturers that people don't play. I think it'd be quite boring if I just decided, oh, I'm going to play Street Fighter 2 and Marvel vs. Capcom and things like that. Yeah, they're popular games, but everybody kind of knows them. Whereas some of these games that didn't get much distribution outside of Japan or Europe, they're kind of more interesting. I'll look at prototypes. I'll probably, I might play some of that Marble Madness 2 every now and again, because some people might just not be aware that it was dumped a few years ago. Things like that I find worth highlighting too. So the teleporter is one. You see there's lots of different elements in these levels. Including these snakes coming out the wall here. And you do have to make it, there is a timer, so you can't just take forever to go around and find this treasure. You have to have a bit of a plan about what you're doing. You just walk over that, and the speed up will help. There we go. Now I make a dash for them all. Yes, but if you open the door the wrong way, it does push you back. So be careful about that, especially if there's enemies around. You can also do it. Oh, hey, the Combat King, welcome, good to see you. Thank you for following on here. If you're in the chat, feel free to say hello. Hey, Combat King, welcome. Good. As I said, it's good to see you. So, have you played this game? Did you see the previous game you had to look at? Because I'd highly recommend this one if you like your maze games with bright, colourful graphics and very addictive gameplay. We've got 2 treasures left in this map. Where are they? I can feel my power's run out now. Well, I think it's because oh yeah. So you see, if you do that, you'll be pushed back. You have to avoid doing that. But you can use the doors to push the enemies too, and push yourself around and push yourself out of danger. So there's a bit of strategy to it all. Let's get in that hole. Now, but this whole digging holes concept, we've seen it in games like Load Runner 2. Although in this, unlike Load Runner, the enemies I don't think, at least on this stage, don't steal the treasure. On Load Runner, you've always got to watch out for those enemies grabbing the treasure and running off with it. I can't remember if they do later on this actually. It's been a little while since I played it, and I tend to forget these things. Anyway, jump over the enemy. That's also a fun thing to do. Is you can jump over the enemies. There's the exit. Just hope to memorise where the exit is. Let's get the fire. Oh, there's just an ice one. There's the exit. You love this stuff. You've spent thousands of hours. Yeah, there's plenty to look up and find, and always something you've not played before as well, which is kind of one of the joys of it. Especially if you start exploring the non-arcade stuff. There's so much there that is just overlooked. But even in the arcade library, the games people never play. I mean, you talk about even the popular platform like CPS2. So few people seem to know games like Battle Circuit. I was surprised by how few people knew Mitchell's Osman on their own hardware, the kind of Strider follow-up. Even though that got a proper commercial release recently, that was another one I emulated. I wasted my extra long spade. I don't quite know how extra long spades work, but I had one for a while there. But you can see the theme changes up. The mazes get a little denser, more difficult to navigate, more complex, and the game progresses that way. Some enemies are better at avoiding your holes. It's got the standard kind of progression you'd expect in an arcade game. Yes, I always forget that. If you're standing there, you can close it and walk around though. So I'm not being very methodical with my planning. You see, the only way to get to that treasure is by the teleporter, because it's locked in the middle there. So I'm assuming it's this teleporter. Yes, that teleporter. So again, it's becoming a maze game. Well, it always was a maze game, but it's becoming more. The mazes making you have to think about where you're going and what you're doing. Also note, when you actually bury somebody, a little gravestone appears. Sometimes a power up. At the moment, I've got bombs. It's turned into Bomberman. There we go. Get out of there. Let's get this one. Where I left the last one. I want the speed up. So, Nichibutsu, it's a shame Nichibutsu ended up just doing entirely Mahjong games after a while, because when they were doing original games, they had so many interesting and creative ideas. Oh, come on, I was on the door. I think that was a bit unfair. The door should have taken priority. So I think, were we my last live on this version of the game? I say this version because that is one of the things I want to discuss. Right, so I turned everybody into ice all of a sudden. So where are we going? It's a very odd ice destruction sound effect. Nichibutsu also have really, really good soundtracks. Even the Soul Cresta game that came out recently, while the Switch port of that is absolutely terrible and has just random stutter that kills you all the time, the soundtrack, which is made to sound like these old Yamaha YM-based setup that Nichibutsu used, it's the soundtrack on that is fantastic. It's almost worth trying to put up the game for the soundtrack, but then when it's a shoot 'em up and it just stutters and kills you for no reason all the time, at random points, not predictably, then yeah, it's not much fun to play, but it does have a really good soundtrack. So if you get a chance to listen to the Soul Cresta soundtrack without playing the game, I would recommend that. But that's just classic Nichibutsu sound on a newer game. Yeah, 1987, a very good game for 1987, I think. I mean, maybe it's not what non-Japanese audiences wanted by 1987. Might have the design might be a bit dated for the non-Japanese audiences, but I really do like this game. Now, one of the funny things is around 1987, we did get all these magnet system bootlegs. And one of the ones that was dumped recently, although the floppy is bad, so this could crash after a level or two, was the Booby Kids one. Now, a load of discs were dumped. There was like Double Dragon, Booby Kids, and a few others. World Wars based off the SNK shooter. This is the only one that actually booted. Some of the other discs were too bad to convert. They just gave through loads of errors because the data of the discs were broken. While this one did convert, but had errors later on and still booted. World Wars boots to a static screen. Double Dragon didn't boot. Most of the others didn't boot. So I'm not going to submit any of these to MAME because really somebody needs to work with the guy who owns the system to try and work out if the dumps are good or not, and if the reason some of the other games don't boot is the emulation instead, because I don't really know. It's a little bit beyond my personal abilities on it. These do save high scores to the floppy disks, so apparently somebody called Hugo played this a bit back in the day. I don't know why they made the title logo scroll like that, but these magnet system games are completely reprogrammed from scratch for the most ridiculous multi-board setup you've ever seen. But we'll have a look at what they've done to it. Obviously the resolution is lower, you immediately notice that, and the music's different because the sound hardware is completely different, and the sound balance is probably all wrong. But we'll have a little play of this very odd version of Booby Kids that I say. I personally won't be submitting to MAME, somebody else does need to look at these. It's instantly, it feels very, very sticky, very, very slow, and it doesn't control very well. You can tell this is a very bad knockoff, and it just feels very wrong. The original was quite quick. You moved around the screen. You sort of just, it felt like Pac-Man. You moved around the screen very gracefully, you corner, it's all smooth, whereas this one, it feels like there's latency on the controls. It feels like you're stuck. You can press the button and it does nothing. You have to hold the button to move. Tap, 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 nothing. Hold the button and you move. It feels really nasty. Like most of these magnet system games, the only good games I've seen on the magnet systems are the ones that were original games, where they weren't just trying to bootleg something else. But it seems like any game they saw in the arcades in 1987, they wanted to try and make a magnet system version of it. They thought it was even slightly possible. But the issue is they all came on floppy disks, and not good quality floppy disks, cheap rubbish floppy disks. Cheap rubbish floppy disks where they've tried to squeeze more data than was meant to be on the floppy disks, with weird sector numbering and track, on the tracks, and getting a good read out of them is very, very difficult. And that's why I did some of the work on the previously done magnet system games, but it needs an expert. It needs somebody who understands discs and when they're failing and how you can get better reads out of them, and it needs somebody who can work with the schematics of the hardware that's been drawn up to make sure all the CPUs are communicating properly. I mean, the driver's got a really gross hack I had to put in just to stop it banking out the code it's running, and I don't know how to avoid that happening. But studying the board more and the schematics would probably tell somebody. So this is why I don't want to just keep submitting these disk images and then not being sure if there's a problem with the disk images or a problem with the emulation. It needs somebody who knows what they're doing with this kind of very awkward floppy based system. I think it really needs somebody to write a test program on the magnet system so that the magnet system can be booted out and dump the contents of the floppy some other way, rather than trying to use other external drives and everything else to dump them, because say the way they're formatted is a bit weird and it might be easier to read them using the original hardware. But you'll notice there's all sorts of differences in here, like when you do the doors, they don't push you back on this version. They've missed the finer details. Although I don't know what killed me there. just felt odd. But yeah, this is this feels like a bad home port. I mean, the graphics hold up because they're ripped from the arcade game, but everything's zoomed in because of the low resolution. The speed's wrong. The music is, I don't know. The sound effects are. The effort they must have put in to make these bootlegs, it's unfathomable. Why would you want to try and port all these games to your bootleg arcade system that nobody's going to want, where they're all terrible? But then they've got the original games on the platform, like Burning Cavern, which isn't good, but it's a playable original game. Yeah, the finer mechanics are all gone. They've just sort of gone, oh, it seems to work like this. It's got these weapons, this is the overall flow, but it feels very off. I fell in my own hole. Again, that's because I actually just wanted to try and turn and dig. We'll see how far we can get in this, and if it does crash at any point, though. So we might be on this one for a little bit longer than anybody would like to be seeing it. Not quite getting full speed at the moment on this as well, so this sounds even worse. But that's not why it's so slow. It's slow even at 100% speed, but for some reason it's decided it's going to start lagging quite badly at this point. I don't know if one of the Z80s is now doing lots of stuff that should be logging, but yeah, it's got even slower somehow. Actually, you know what? I think I might just kill the character off. The teleporters work, yay. So it didn't crash in the first few levels. Maybe it'll crash later. I don't know. The disc is definitely corrupt, but maybe the data that's corrupt on the disc isn't used by this game. Because I think what happened is when they were developing the things, they often just overwrote previous games. So it might be that the corrupt data is from something else, and it only uses a fraction of the disc. But yeah. Anyway, I think we've seen enough of the magnet system version of Booby Kids, which is kind of terrible. I'm not going to lie, but there you go. I don't know when it will be added to MAME, because somebody else does need to take a look at all of those things. Let's look at a different game. Let's look at a game I don't really get how to play, actually. I keep putting it off because I don't really understand it. This saw some improvements last year, I think. Field Combat by Jalico. Maybe more famous for having the NES port. But it's one of those games that I hear good things about, but it's a strategy game. You're sucking up soldiers from the battlefield and then somehow deploying them and using different weapons, and I don't quite get what you're doing. I think you can deploy it. I've launched a helicopter, or I tried to launch a helicopter, and then I died. There's just the two buttons, yes. So I think if you press both buttons, it deploys what's selected. But then the selection for the cursor at the bottom and the same left and right buttons to control your radar thing, which is really awkward. And then when you're doing the tractor beam thing, you can't move. Yeah, it's a tricky one to play. It's one of those games that you play and you think, why was this an arcade game? This is not pick up and play design. This is, most people who play this are going to be very, very confused. Um, I think that's one reason people actually like it. It's got more depth than a lot of arcade games. However, they're doing nothing. Oh, they're doing something. They're not doing much useful though, these tanks. They're acting as a bit of a shield. That's handy. Oh, and that one's been stolen. Kind of reminds me of that little battlefield mini game in San Andreas where you fly in the helicopter over a kid's sort of battlefield playground thing. I've got no tanks left. But yeah, it's a very odd one. I can deploy the troops. Look here. Some troops to help me. But yes, come on, troops. I think if no, that was. I think you've got to blow that thing up using your missiles before it steals things. Yeah. Now the improvements in MAME, I think, were layer alignment and things like the helicopter animations now working, because it's very odd hardware at the same time. Hey. Is that what people really do in the field? They stand there with their rocket launchers and throw them from the air and go like this. It seems quite a strange thing to do. Anyway. Let's keep going. Let's give this another try and see if I can get anywhere. You see, at this point, if you're putting money into an arcade machine, you're going to be questioning why you're still putting money into an arcade machine if the game doesn't make much sense. Maybe I'm meant to quickly deploy the troops. There we go, you see I blew the flying saucer thing. We got more troops. There you go, there's one of the helicopters, which is bombing. No, it's trying to... You move so slowly. There must be a good strategy for this. I have not discovered it yet. Like, I think deploying the troops straight away helps. That means I've got to go left there. It reminds me of Karnov in that sense. Welcome, Acidona. Welcome. If you're in that chat, feel free to say hello. But thank you for following. So, yeah, I think I only had 3 guys. I'm going to deploy the other 2. There we go. I've got all my army out now. But no, I don't. Don't take away my man. Can I get this? I think you are incredibly defenseless unless you put out your troops and put out the other things. That's probably the idea. You move slowly. They're all meant to be protecting you. So, if they don't... Okay. They're not very good at aiming, though. I say that and I'm not either. Give me back my troops. I think it would have helped to have separate buttons for selecting the icons at the bottom rather than it all being tied to the same controls, because you can't select without moving at the same time. You don't always want to move when you've got to select. That is my main criticism of this one. Yeah, it's on a lot of the Famiclones. It just amazes me that it was an arcade game. It doesn't feel like something that should be in the arcades. And there's too much you have to know to play it. Maybe the instruction card would have told you some information, but... Did we win? I can't move anymore. Apparently we won. And now there's a more complex layout, so, you know, I can't go through the walls. Probably want some tanks. I don't know, don't the guys? stealing half my army. I picked up a tank though. I don't think I can grab the helicopter stack, can I? Ooh, I've got another tank. No, I've not got any. Yeah, I mean, at least with the console game, you've got it at home. You're not pressured by having to put money in it and trying to learn it and then have to put more money in it. If it, like, you know, spent a fortune on trying to play this game in the arcade and been dying this often, I would have just given up on it and gone, this game is terrible. Does the helicopter do anything if I deploy it? Why do all my troops have such bad aim? I don't know if I can actually do anything to the helicopter, their helicopter, apart from blow it up, which I didn't manage to do. But yeah, you have to play very defensively on this. I mean, I love Gain Ground as well, but this is why I compare this to Gain Ground. It's a strategic game. It's a game you have to really know what you're doing, really have a plan. And you can get... Yeah. So I didn't do so bad that time. I completed the first level without too many incidents. I thought people don't realise this was an arcade, but they do obviously know that Famicom version from other Famiclones. I think you can only deploy so many things at a time. I think the number of stars down there shows how many things you can have deployed at a time. So unless like some of the men die, I can't deploy any tanks now. So as much as I'm saying don't take my men, maybe take my men. Just suck up a load of tanks. Let's deploy some tanks, yeah. Again, you don't have real control over how many you deploy at once. If you've got... It'll deploy as many men as it can, as you've got. But you might only want to deploy a few. It's very odd. I need to deploy more now, though, because I'm losing. But there we go. You see, I'd managed to do field 2 this time without going anywhere near the top of it. And that's the other thing. It almost feels like you're meant to go up, but they almost look like mines, but I guess they're not. Unless you can win by getting to the top. I've never tried that. Probably should deploy some people. Hey, Kayentane. Welcome, welcome. So, what am I doing? Should I deploy my own helicopters? Yes, let's deploy some helicopters. And then die. I mean, I'm also surprised it didn't get more ports to more systems. I mean, we've got the NES port, but I don't think any of our 8-bits got a port. But maybe that's because nobody saw it outside of Japan. Until, you know, all the Famiclones. I think it would have been quite at home on, say, the Amstrad CPC or something like that. I can see it working there. Yeah, I think a lot of Jaleco games were. I mean, even if you go to some of these recent modern arcades, one manufacturer you basically see nothing from it is Jaleco. I mean, not even the more popular games. They seem very, very uncommon. So, these older 80s ones, though, this especially, you don't ever see. I know there were some parallel turn boards in the UK back in the day, because it was a UK collector asking me if I could emulate it back in the day. They had the boards. And some of the ones... But I say you don't even see many city connections around. Is there a nighttime phase, or have I just glitched the game by playing it? I think it must be a nighttime phase. Change of palette or something like that. City Connection is a famous one, but I've not seen an actual arcade cabinet like that over here in years. I don't know. Maybe one of the arcades has got one that I've not been to, but I don't know. Jalico, not that common. Mega System 32 games, I've never seen a single one of those on real hardware. You did get odd home ports of Jalico games, like we got Butter Sam ported as Psycho Pikachu XP. But I don't know. It's unpredictable. I know the Spectrum port of City Connection recently showed up, didn't it? At least the 1 to 8K version. That was recovered because I don't think it ever got released. So it's an odd company. A lot of they're more a publisher than a developer, I think. A lot of their games were by NMK and the like, but some interesting ones. Right, yeah, let's play a prototype that I enjoy. And I think we need 2 horizontal bits. This game is Superman, but not Superman. It's basically Superman without the license. It's meant to be trackball based. We'll be playing it on keyboards, so don't expect too much. Yeah, the most of the games are owned by a company called City Connection. You're right, K and Tone. And they are doing some re-releases of them. I mean, there's a recent Psychic 5 release, which is apparently not the best version of the game, but yes. I think City Connection is the game most people know, so I guess that's why they called the company City Connection, the one that ended up buying up the rights. But yeah, I have got the Psychic 5 on order, but I have heard it misses a lot of the... yeah, you have to rescue the people, otherwise they will go splat. Which I'm failing to do. But, City, I've got some other stuff that was put out by City Connection. I just can't think of it off the top of my head. But yes, they've been putting out some of the Jalico games. But this is a protection game. And if you do have to blast the stuff that's on the ground, I think we've run out of citizens. Oh, no, not quite. Almost. No. We've only got 1 left there. So, protect 'em up's a genre that I quite like. I mean, you think of the things like Missile Command, that's a protect 'em up. It's also a trackball game maps like this one, but in that case you're protecting bases that don't move. In this case you're protecting citizens that do move. Nope. Get back. Nope. Just grab the bus. There we go, got an extra citizen. I think Galloping Ghosts do have a copy of this, but I don't think you're going to see it outside of America, unless you're playing it in MAME. And it's a shame because I really like this one, but it didn't get released. Maybe it was a bit too... We've got 1 citizen left. Maybe they thought it was a bit too close to Superman and could have risked getting them in trouble. Yeah. I think with an actual trackball you'd be able to zoom around, zip around a bit better. Totally not Superman music. Hey, Mr. Pungai, welcome. And yeah, I thought I'd say I've set up the Twitch thing so that I can jump in and quickly do some streams, which is kind of the point of it, as opposed to YouTube where I kind of end up having to plan them a lot more. So this is just, I've got a brief list of games, plus, you know, if any suggestions come up, I'll try and look at them. If the ones I know enough to know are safe to stream. Because, you know, one of the issues with streaming MAME stuff is somebody could put in a game that I've never heard of or never played much and don't know if it's safe, so I do have to be somewhat familiar with games to play requests, but I'm familiar with a lot of them. So, If requests do come in, I will try and look. What's the betting at some point in development this guy actually was wearing Superman colours? Nope, nope, don't take bus. Nope. Again, this is a game that would have worked on home platforms. I think had it come out, it would have seen some ports, but because it didn't come out, it didn't get any ports. Now, the people do have fall damage, so if they're relatively close to the ground when you drop them, they're fine. If they're high up, then they will die, unless you plant and grab them, like Superman would. I don't know about the vehicles. I think they can take more fall damage. Or maybe they just don't break at all. But yeah, it's nice to be able to just jump in and do some streams. I'm not abandoning the YouTube. YouTube has its purposes, and I'll probably still use YouTube more than this. I didn't go very far. Oh, my city's inside this time. Eco Fighters. Yeah, that's a fun one. I guess it's just joystick setup, because you never really see the trackball version of that. The spinner version, even. But Eco Fighters is a fun one. A sort of Forgotten World sequel. The Forgotten World sequel. Even though it's not officially a Forgotten World sequel, you can tell it's the same basic game idea, just with a different theme. You know, rotary shooter. But it also feels like they kind of related to Sidearms, which is left and right but not rotary. I don't know if they officially are, but you can see sort of the progression in the game. The genre, and they're all from Capcom, so they must have been aware of the previous games. Anyway, Argus. There's not Argus the shop, but Argus the game. There is another game called Argus, which I think's a Jalika and NMK game, but it's a shooter. But this is the Gottlieb prototype, and it's a fun one. It's one I do enjoy. Anyway. Where are we going now? Shall we stick with older games, or shall we go with something a bit... Let's go with one I really never play. I've probably played it before, but not one that I really fire out to play, so not one I know much about. Oh, we're back to Jalico. Pop Flamer. This is on Naughty Boy hardware. And it's a horizontal one, a vertical one even, and I'm on the horizontal view. So I think I've played this a few times, but I can't remember much about it. So it seems quite loud. That's not too bad. So I'm popping the balloons. Inflaming the enemies, okay. Apparently balloons aren't affected by fire. That's interesting. I guess I just put... I don't think I have sat down and played this one on stream before, you know. I think I've played Naughty Boy. I don't think I've played this one on stream. Can I wrap around? I can wrap around. That's handy. Now that balloon's looking very happy. I don't know what the drink does at the top. I can drink from it though, so... Does it recharge my flame? Is that what it's doing? Because my flame's getting smaller. Yeah, I guess that's one of the issues, is probably a lot of the people doing the ports and Rodline didn't realise this is the second half of the game because it's hidden behind a code. And while, say, with Bubble Wobble, more people might have been aware of it, with Rodline, the game isn't popular enough in the first place for a lot of the people doing the ports to even know there was a second part. Or maybe they just didn't think the second part was that important, and I really don't know. But yeah, a lot of the ports play better. Unfortunately, the problem with Arcade World Land is it's really badly programmed and has far too much in the way of slowdown, especially if you try and play it two-player. But Rodland, if you overclock the CPU, is a pretty fun game. Rodland, as it's shipped, is rough. Every time you use the plane, it gets one less. That must have recharged. No, that's not recharged my plane. That doesn't recharge your plane. So what is the purpose of the drink? I'm quite confused. I would have thought the drink thing would recharge your flame, but apparently it doesn't. Unless the protector set doesn't work properly. I don't know. There's Jellicoe reported avenging spirit to the Game Boy. Yes, 500 times question mark. So it doesn't say it recharges your flame, but that means you're always operating on a very limited flame. Okay. I don't know. Let's have another credit of this. Logically, to me, that should have been a recharge, but maybe it just doesn't want you to have too much flame. It doesn't do my flame any good though. Oh, okay. That's... Now I'm going super fast though. I was, but I've still only got a tiny flame. Okay, this game's cute. I'm not convinced by the overall game design. Now I've got a full flame. Does it recharge over time then? Well, I don't know. There doesn't appear to be a meter indicating it. So the risk of drinking the drink is a bit like in the mousetrap part in Olibuchu, I think. It's just that if you can stay there for long enough to drink the drink, as opposed to it being a recharge, okay. There's no Mr. Do style walk in, respawn them and get a bonus that I can tell. Okay, just experimenting with the game because, say, it's not really one I'm familiar with. Some way to die. I'm not too familiar with it. And again, never seen a cabin for this. So if I drink all this, it's going to do the same thing. What? So that always just does this. And I get a brief moment of super speed and invulnerability. And then it's back to normal. Okay. Anybody grow up playing this one? Did this get any ports that I'm unaware of? Okay, yeah, Jellicoe in general. Strange company. I should probably just do a Jellicoe special on YouTube one of these days where I only play Jellicoe games. Well, you know, published by Jellicoe. There'll be a lot of NMK games in there, as I said, because, well, they were really tied together. Probably won't be doing any of the Mahjong games because they're not stream friendly and I can't play them. But, so they just get in your way, they don't kill you. Drink this one? What? I'm holding towards it and sometimes it moves away from it. That's really weird. It's like a false input when I'm just holding towards the but I'm not sure why. That felt weird. The only one you've seen in person is City Connection. Yeah, that seems to often be the case. I mean, it's strange. I know it is the Japan Leisure Company, but I would have thought that some of their games would be a bit more known outside of Japan. Anyway, is this my last life? Probably. That stuns you. So once they do that on you, you can't run away. It's an interesting game. Because I don't fully understand all the mechanics of it. Not got the nicest sound, it's not got the prettiest visuals, but it seems playable enough. So we'll move on from that one for now. Let's try and avoid playing more Jellicoe if we can. If we can, I know what we're going to play. We've been arcade only so far, but we'll be moving to a few non-arcade things in a bit. So this is Senjyo by Tekken. Now, I was recently told that the sky gradient effect on this is not right in MAME, and that there are a lot more transitions on the arcade board. And looking at the code in the driver, I can kind of believe that, because it just looks kind of like it's kludged to draw certain gradients. So it does need work on the driver. I guess when it was emulated, there were no references. You've never seen a Jellicoe cabinet in person, JP running? No. Okay, I'm not doing very well here. That was a quick credit. Very obviously Tekken though, from the fonts and the flashy colours. Tekken had their style, which you see here and you see in Bomb Jack. Oh, come on. This is going so well. Yeah, I think this is the game the hardware was designed for, because the hardware's got all these gradient effects and everything like that. And then you've got games like Star Force on the hardware, which doesn't use half the hardware. And then I think they redid Star Force on a cheaper PCB without some of the extra hardware to do the extra layers. But yeah, this was... They designed it for this, clearly. And this used the hardware to its fullest. And then they did a bunch of other games which didn't, and the other games were better games. At least I've got the hang of dodging and shooting one at a time. Well, I say that, I probably haven't, but I'm going to pretend I have. But yeah, there are meant to be more gradient effects, and the background's meant to sort of transition, I think, in certain cases, rather than just flip between two different states. I don't know. It was Hold Corrado, who was telling me about it. So hopefully somebody can actually find a video of what the effect's meant to look like, so that it can be fixed at some point. Because if you want to fix that type of effect, video references are important. Unless it's obvious just from looking at, the registers. But I'm assuming if it was that obvious, it would have been done properly back in the day. And I don't mind it. The multiple layers of parallax are pretty good. It's just not the most compelling of crosshair shooters. Got no roll button. Not that I'd expect this tank to be able to roll, but the tank in Assault can roll. But yeah, it's all right. I just thought I'd stream it just so that if it does end up getting fixed at some point in the near future, you've seen what it's like now. That doesn't mean it will be getting fixed in the near future. It just means that this is the current state of it, and apparently it's not quite right yet. Does it actually make you start the stage over? No, it doesn't. There's a counter there that's still counting. I want to at least complete the level. Yeah, you see it's suddenly transitioned to red, and I think that's meant to be a gradual thing. I think that's the impression I got from what was being said anyway. I could be wrong though, because I haven't seen a video reference of what it's meant to be like. Just been told the gradient is not currently emulated fully. Yeah, so this I'm assuming he has a PCB, hence reporting it. So I think a lot of the PCBs probably got converted to things like Star Fox, because Star Fox was infinitely more popular. One of those cases where a lot of the hardware went to waste, I guess. I got. I don't like the way it starts the levels like that, so that thing coming straight towards you. That's actually the trickiest part of every level. So, yeah. So that was Senjyo. Let's play some non-arcade games for a little bit. What do I want to play? Let's play... Yeah. Let's get out everybody's favourite, the Colour Genie. Because I think there was something I wanted to discuss about this specific game, where I think the emulation's not quite right. So this is the Colour Genie, which apparently was quite popular in Germany. Don't know if it was popular anywhere else. And this is a game called Eagle, which is a space shooter. So yeah, get on with it. So it's all in German. 1983 TCS. Now, okay, so it's a shoot 'em up. It's a bit like Phoenix. We looked at Mega Phoenix earlier, and you have to shoot the birds in the middle. I don't know if it's meant to be this fast because I've never played it on hardware. To be honest, there might be a load of missing wait states, but I don't mind it being this fast. You see, when you die and it suddenly has that corruption, it changes the screen resolution on the system to about 90 pixels high, and MAME ends up stretching that to the whole display, which looks really wrong. I don't know what it's meant to do at that point, if anything, but it should not be changing the screen height to like 90 odd pixels. I don't know if there's a shield. It's going to give you a shield briefly at the start, but I'd love to know how this runs on real hardware. Is it like this? Is it super fast, or is it more playable? Yeah, it might just be too fast in MAME, to be honest. A lot of these old systems did have wait states that aren't emulated, but I have no reference at all. The only thing I noticed when I was setting it was that weird screen mode change that really shouldn't happen. It's not unplayable at this speed, which makes me think maybe it's meant to be this fast. So that's probably where the challenge comes from. Especially when there's only one enemy left. F for fail. Start again. The Colour Genie is an interesting one because obviously it's a system that outside of Germany I don't think anybody cared about. But in Germany there seemed to be quite a good scene back in the day of people making games. I mean, some of the games on the system are written by MAME developers long before they were working on MAME. You know, back in the 80s. I think the system was made in Hong Kong, but for some reason saw popularity there in Germany. But yeah, you're not going to find many people doing dedicated Colour Genie streams. We'll play another round of this one, and we're doing worse this time. I'm trying to clear the levels too quickly rather than taking my time. I'm taking too many risks when I could just wait them out. So here we go. So yeah, and that's just what I do on these streams. I tend to like to cover obscure things, and mixing obscure computer games and console games with arcades works for me. I mean, it would be very difficult to find, you know, to do a dedicated stream just of these things and for it to find an audience. But when I'm playing arcade games, which I know some people are going to be more interested in, and then I throw in something like this, it gives people who may just not immediately think of watching a Colour Genie stream something to think about in terms of games that were influenced by the arcades and games that are even quite playable. And also, you know, you got to see me load it up and, you know, type in system, then type in the game name, and then type in the backslash and enter to start it up. The instructions to load them are in the software list, but not all the games are loaded the same way, and you have to know what to type, which would have, I guess, been in the tape inlay at the time. So it just gives people an idea of, you know, how you can play these games without having to, you know, look in that software list. And maybe somebody would, you know, just watch one of these streams or watch some catch up and go, oh yeah, I want to try and play Eagle for a bit. I fancy a fast-paced challenge. And then maybe one day we'll find out this is just far too fast in MAME. It won't be a fast-paced challenge anymore. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Yeah, it's very Phoenixy. The birds, you have to shoot them in the middle. It's not got all the rounds of Phoenix. It's a very, very simple little game. But it's fun. It's pretty good fun. I can't complain about it, to be honest. Shall we have a quick look at a different Colour Genie game? I think, well, while we've got the Colour Genie, while we're looking at Colour Genie, let's flip to another one. So just press enter, type system, Eatman, apparently this one's called. I wonder what this is going to be. And then we have to bring up the menu. Let's play. This is a very short tape. This is a 28-second tape. I don't think this is going to be even as complex as the last game. Oh, it's not with speeding up. There we go then. So let me press that. Enter. So what's this going to be? Copyright 1983. It's up, down, left, right. So you're in a maze and your mission is to eat as much dot with your thing as possible. It's going to be Pac-Man, isn't it? Oh, it's not Pac-Man. This is... okay. Oh, it's... okay, you can only move up and down at the sides or where the gap is in the ever-moving maze. This feels more like a 2600 game, an early 2600 game. Actually very smoothly animated. I was expecting a slow-paced Pac-Man game. I did see this when I was researching for the stream, but only a screenshot of it, and I just assumed it's going to be Pac-Man because it's called Eatman. But see, this doesn't run too fast. This seems like quite a reasonable speed. I think the ghosts can only move up and down at the sides, can they? So as long as... definitely a bit different. They're going to be... oh, they got me. Alright, they got me. So now it gets tricky because they're almost guarding this bottom bit here, it feels like. I'm going to manage it. Oh, come on. Nope. Okay, this is different. Almost. Jumping jack without jumping. Yeah. Let's start at the top. For the size this game must be, because it loaded in like 20 seconds from the tape, they've done a good job. Yeah, the graphics are simple, and there's probably only this one level design, but actually the concept works. And that's what matters when you're playing these games. Maybe I'll find out it's got horrible game-breaking bugs later on, or once you know how to beat the level, that's it. You never have to think of a new strategy. But oh. Right, there we go. You come with me, ghosts. So they go from... They never move up or down more than one position, do they? At the sides. So that's the handy thing to know. Oh, I should have predicted that. Come on, we can do this. Oh, yes. Oh, they got faster. The ghosts got faster, I think. So I think it ups the challenge. So I'm sure this is what everybody tuned in to see, isn't it? I mean, I'm quite happy showing this off. I don't think there's going to be a single other person who has streamed this on Twitch or YouTube. But are there more ghosts too? Were there only 2 on the first level? I feel like there were more ghosts. Maybe they're not faster. Maybe there's more of them. Didn't stand a chance. I'm assuming you don't have a dash button either. Okay, Eatman. Yeah, no complaints from me actually. It's quite good. It's actually quite good. Better than I was expecting. So, let's go back to playing something from the arcades then. Okay. Italian game time. Let's go with Stunt Air by Nuva Videotron in 1983. It's the kind of effect we've seen on a few games where the enemy shoots and the letters appear. So let's play it. So yeah, this one visually is quite like Sega's Starjacker, because you've got the chain of ships. But yeah, this is an Italian game. I don't know if it's the only game this company made. As you can see, it's a vertical scrolling shooter. I crashed into something. And now I've only got 2 ships. One other ship behind me. I've got a bomb on. I've got a bomb too, so I should have probably bombed whatever was on the ground there. I don't really know why it's called Stunt Air, because, well, I know you're not doing any stunts. It's not even got a loop button like a 1940... 1942? Was it blue? I can shoot those things on the side. Shoot at him. Your bombs go up at a funny angle if you're... Some of them do. I don't understand the bomb mechanics. In certain cases, the bombs can fire off at a weird angle. Anyway, we are docked. I guess you can have up to 5 ships then. And now I feel very inadequate in my 2. Again, I'm guessing this is a game that basically nobody bothers to play. It's not a household name. It was probably never distributed outside of Italy. I'm assuming really nobody knows it. You can really do with a crosshair telling you where your bombs are going to go, though. You can't aim the bombs with this. Especially not when they go off at an angle. And you don't crash into those, because for some reason those... I don't think if you can bomb them. You can bomb the little ones on the ground. Oh. Oh dear. Well. Not the best one. Should we try again? So, let's have another go. But yeah, this is one that I wrote the driver for in MAME many years ago now. I think from what I remember, it's a fairly simple piece of hardware. Nothing fancy about it at all. And something of a rarity in terms of the game itself. I may be the first person to stream this on Twitch too, yeah. I may be the first person to play it in about 10 years. I don't know. I think some of these streamers that do try and cover every game in MAME have probably played it, but at some point. But, clearly influenced by Sega's Starjacker, but don't let that get in the way of it being still a fairly fun game in its own right. It's not perfect. You do get a bit of graphical flicker, as you see every now and again. I think that might just be the game, though. Because, as I said, I can't remember anything remarkable or fancy about the hardware. I think sometimes it just updates the sprite list at the wrong time. You get a little bit of flicker, you see there. For a low-budget game, I would not be surprised if that's just how it is. Oh yes, extra bonus. For clearing that wave. So yes, Stunt Air. Not the best name. Well, there's no stunts, and also you're in space. There's no air, but there are helicopters in space because, well, you know, helicopters in space. I'm going to have to add this to the list of games with helicopters. It's the special subcategory of helicopters in space. I don't know how long this game is. If it just loops infinitely, the levels all seem very similar. Not the same, though. Not the same. Ooh. And that's my last life done. That is my last life done. Didn't beat the number one score though. The ... So, yes, Stunt Air. No idea where that title comes from, but it's definitely a playable shooter. Let's do something completely different. Let's play Super Goalkeeper from Tronica. This is one of those Game & Watch knockoffs. So what are the keys? IK and ED. Yeah. So I think this is a hack of Mickey Mouse. But it's not the exact same program from memory. I think this is one where they did change the program a bit. Egg, which is the same game as Mickey Mouse. The Game & Watch. This company did like to make their knockoffs. But obviously instead of grabbing eggs and stopping eggs falling on the floor, you're trying to stop the ball going in the net. You're trying to stop people scoring against you. Let's just pretend it's very wild penalty kick. But yeah, there were quite a few of these, and sometimes they did change the code. Now, I think these ones, the Tronica ones, they're not the ones that were distributed in Russia, are they? These are the ones that were more European, from memory. Is this running at full speed? No, it's not running at full speed, so keep that in mind. With this artwork and trying to stream at the same time, it's not quite full speed. In fact, maybe if we reduce the window size a bit here, it will help. No, it does not help. MAME's artwork system is slow, unfortunately. That's where the sound is a little bit off. I don't know if it's trying to apply effects to it or something silly. Video options. Unit and background only. Is that going to help? Nope. Not much helped. Still, I'm running about 80%. Slider options. Hold on. Does changing video mode help? No. No. BG effect is even slow and tries to apply filters to it. Unfortunately, these high resolution pieces of artwork in MAME, yeah, they don't run well a lot of the time. I think you need a really high-end video card just to use them. So we'll continue to play the game, just in slightly slow motion. But not much you can do about it. Oh no, turn the shadow up and now it runs at full speed. That's what you can do. If it doesn't run at full speed with unit only, go to unit only no shadow and you'll get your speed back. There you go, now it's full speed, it just doesn't look as good. And yes, it's ridiculous that a Game & Watch has this kind of crazy requirement, but that is MAME's artwork system for you. It really needs scrapping and replacing with something that has some kind of performance without requiring, you know, a high-end video card. This is basic stuff. However, now we can be our goalkeeper at a professional speed. But yeah, MAME does a good job in general of a lot of these Game & Watch type games. The ones that can be dumped anyway and scanned, they're often actually really enjoyable. Unfortunately, a lot of the Chinese ones use just globs, and we don't know how to dump any of them. We don't even know what the technology inside is. Same with those block game Tetris things. They all just seem to be a glob, which we have no way of dumping. Yeah, half soccer balls. That's because they're moving really quickly. Or he just wants to catch, you know, broken spinner things, the toy spinners. I'm not sure. Just pretend they're going really quickly. I guess that's where the theming of the unit comes in handy. Is that you can tell it's football because it's got a picture of a guy with a football there, and it's got a goal behind him. He's not just like trying to grab flies. But I'm sure you could retheme it as fly grab it if you wanted. Protecting your dinner from flies would work just as well as the goal. But maybe not the most compelling thing to watch, but this was one of the more recently added ones. And it's good to see them still showing up, even if, you know, this is a bit of a knockoff. It's gives it a unique twist. Also, yeah, I think the controls are different, because the first time you press another button, you go back to the middle. I don't remember Egg and Mickey Mouse doing that. So we'll probably quit out of this in a minute. 350. Greatest goalkeeper ever. Yeah, he's keeping the score down. I don't think the team in front of him can be very good, though. Also, I think the referee needs to have a word about the number of balls that are on the pitch. You know, it seems a bit excessive. But he is doing a pretty good job. I mean, I don't know why he needs to protect the goal this much. There's not even any fans in the stadium. But, yeah. Okay. The animation to show when you've missed it is a bit awkward, because the balls don't ever feel like they're close enough to count as missed, but once you know it where you've got to get them, it's obvious enough. Anyway, let's let our lives run down. I'm sure Game B is just the same but faster. That was, say, Goalkeeper, Super Goalkeeper, I think. Yeah, Super Goalkeeper by Tronica. Shall we do another Game & Watch style thing? I don't think there's a background for this one. If I can find it. That's one. Don't have to play this one. This is the Star Fox watch from Nelsonic, under license from Nintendo. Apparently it requires external artwork that I don't have, but I think requires is probably not entirely accurate. So what are the controls on this one? Up, down, left, right, 2 buttons. It is running at full speed. So let's see how this one plays. And let's see if you really do need external artwork or not. Okay, I'm just avoiding stuff for now, maybe. I don't know why I can shoot. So, yeah, this is probably not the Star Fox you're used to seeing. I think I'm just avoiding things for now. Yeah, most of the Game & Watch games start off slow and get faster, so I'm assuming it does. Yes, advanced 3D going on here. I don't even know why there were 2 buttons on this at the moment. I guess I'm not meant to hit the fireballs. But maybe I am. I don't... Hitting the fireballs doesn't seem to be damaging me. Those do. I don't know how to play this. I was not a proud owner of a Nelsonic Star Fox watch back in the day. I'm assuming I shot that. I meant to fly through the rings like Superman 64. My shield is going down. Maybe I'm not meant to be collecting the fireballs. I don't know. I've said before, you know, Nintendo got this type of thing right because it was always clear what you had to do. The games were simple but effective. Is button 2 reset, or did it just reset for the sake of it? I don't know. Star Fox, everybody. Star Fox without the Super Effects chip. And without any video hardware. And on a watch. The technology has definitely come a long way. I mean, you've got complete computer systems with basically computers with operating systems on a watch these days. So I can go up and down, but I don't even see the point in that. Unless I'm meant to do that for the rings. Well, that made a good noise when I went through the ring, so I think I did a good thing. But yeah, people were asking about this one for a while, so I guess a lot of people must have had it. And it's one of those that was decapped. I think visually typed in from, or maybe OCR'd from a visual decap. So, are these at different heights? Can I avoid them by doing different heights? Slightly more expensive than Star Fox. It probably is. I guess some of these Nintendo ones, even if they're not Game & Watch, are quite collectible these days. I got 40 points doing something. Maybe did it have a background? I don't know. Obviously, I don't have a background scan. I don't think I've seen it running with a background. So maybe you just have to get used to what height everything is at. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely not the Star Fox you're expecting. It's quite funny though. Star Fox is obviously known for having quite impressive 3D visuals at the time, so to even try and make it on a Game & Watch style piece of hardware, an unusual one too. It's not the common CPU type for Game & Watch, because obviously it's not actually a Game & Watch. It's made by Nelsonic, but under license from Nintendo. A lot of people did assume it was just the same technology as Game & Watches because, well, visually, yeah, it looks like a Game & Watch, doesn't it? But I think this technology is a bit weaker. I mean, based on the number of elements on the screen, it's not pushing around anywhere near as much as some of the later Game & Watches. That feels really strange to say. Less advanced than the Game & Watch. I think it might be. I got 45 this time. I think I've got a new record score. 50. Ooh. But yeah, if you've not seen this emulated, and this did kind of slip under the radar. It didn't really get much coverage when it was emulated, even though people were asking about it quite a bit before that point. Anyway, I think we should probably move back onto some arcade games again now. So let's close off the Nelsonic Star Fox watch. MAME is a very versatile piece of software these days. Yeah, hundreds of dollars. Well, if you don't want to spend hundreds of dollars on a watch, I think it's morally acceptable to be running that one in MAME. I would say. Shall we go for a bit of Konami? Let's load the Japanese set, because when it comes to Konami, I do not trust export sets. So, surprise! Attack. Creative default high score names. The images on the right don't really look like people who have taken over a spaceship. They don't look very spacey at all. But this is Surprise Attack, and it is set on a spaceship. It's actually a rather nice intro otherwise. Just kind of odd. So, it's Chapter 1, Japanese letters, because I chose Japanese set. So it's a bit shinobi. Walking along, jumping on multiple different planes, but with guns. Okay. Bomb the main. Oh. I didn't get all the bomb. There's one there. Is that it? Reference point. High_speed dude. So, I don't think many people talk about this one, or play this one. It seems to be one of those Konami games that's largely forgotten. Maybe because it is a bit too much like Shinobi. It's no points of originality here in terms of the game design. Just a different theme, and I mean, it's a slightly different power up. Got shot. Also checkpoints. Gotta love checkpoints. Back to the start of the stage. So, let's go. Continue. Doors are deciding to get in my way. I just love it when doors do that, they just close on you. So there we go. Quite short levels. Quite short levels indeed. Now you do have multiple planes in this scene. Now I'm at the back. I think it might be missing a shadow effect when you do that. I'm not sure. I think I did read somewhere that MAME's missing a shadow effect when you're behind things. But I've not seen any real hardware footage to confirm. But it wouldn't surprise me because it would be a lot clearer if you were shadowed behind there, but Let's continue. I don't think it's got any ports either. I think the Saturn could have done it. But, oh yeah, you can't jump back unless there's unless you're in a suitable place, I think, or jump over them. What are you bringing a knife into space for? So yeah, it might be one of those that does need some emulation work, but I don't know, because you know they are behind there. And now I'm behind them. It's quite tricky, this one. Bouncing barrels is this Donkey Kong. Well, if I was hoping the Japanese version was going to be easier, I think I was mistaken, because this definitely isn't easy. There's not even much point in jumping over there. Can you jump back down? Oh, you can jump back down there. You can't jump over when it's too high up, right? So I can't jump up from here. No, but I can jump down in that position, which makes sense. We'll fall further than we can jump up. But don't jump straight into a knife. We'll get there eventually. But I think had this been one of Konami's... You did it. No, I didn't. I died. I don't know why the pilot say you did it. You did it. You did it. There were the bombs. It's like, you're congratulating me a bit early there, Konami. I certainly didn't do... This game must be dead. Yeah, you can't seem to... It'd be nice if you could jump over and do an attack at the same time. Instead, you can't. So... Just go figure happy on the run here and look for the best. Well, see, he's on the other side, which is kind of difficult to tell. That's my issue. That's why I think it's probably missing a blending on the sprite. Because it blends again. It blends the background, so I think logically it should be darkening the sprite here, but it isn't. MAME's Konami emulation in general is kind of bad, to be fair. It needs a lot of work in many areas. Don't know. So there's the fabled Konami rewrite that I still don't think is ever actually going to happen. You just keep getting stabbed. Anyway, surprise attack. They grab a knife and they shout surprise and they attack you. I clearly need to practice this one a bit more before I try and play it again, because that was a bad run on the game. That was a very bad run on the game indeed. Let's go with... MAME's search is awful too. I typed in half the game name, still didn't find it. Yes, okay. Typing pretty much space position does not find the game name. Because the set name is SPC Position. Space Position by Nasco, probably published by Sega, on the funky hardware that was used for Angel Kids with the split screen effect. A hardware which is only useful really if you want to do a split screen effect. A bit quiet this one, I think. Unfortunately, you can't turn up volumes in MAME, only turn down volumes. But yeah, the top and bottom half of the screen, unless I've turned it down at some other point. No, it's just one of those that's really quiet. I'm not going to turn it up because then I'll forget to turn it down later. So You're not missing too much audio-wise if you can't hear it. And yeah, you do have to try and get the fuel too. I can't remember how you get fuel in this thing. Oh, I think you come to the side here, don't you? Yeah. It's one of those. There we go, got my fuel back. That makes sense. Now I think in 2-player mode it does split the screen using the split screen effect. In 1-player mode it doesn't. I believe unlike Angel Kids this has this... No, does this one? Does this have... I can't remember if it has the same top and bottom tile map bombs. I think it might not. I think for the title logo, the space and position, that's what differs in the tile bombs for the two halves of the screen. I think Angel Kids may have the same tire bombs. I can't remember it now. One of the games has identical tire bombs for top and bottom. The other one doesn't. From memory. No. Definitely one of the stranger pieces of hardware I've emulated. But of this kind of racing game. Obviously not as famous as, say, Konami's Overdrive. Is it Overdrive? Not Overdrive. What's it called? I forgot what the Konami game. That time over. It's quite punishing. What's the Konami game called? The one that's got knockoffs in every plug-and-play game. I think the bootleg of it's called Overdrive, but I can't remember the original game title. I don't know why I forgot that one. I'm sure if you played it, you know the one I mean. So yeah, you're not only gonna make sure you go for the fuel and don't run out. You've got to actually go fast enough to win the race. And I don't think it's got any home ports either. Yeah, you can see at the top there's 2 status bars for if it's in 2-player mode, so it really is designed to be played as a 2-player game, split screen, racing against each other. But I'm not doing that for obvious reasons. I'm hoping we actually make it within the time this time though. Where is my timer? Can't even see the timer. There we go. Maybe if I stop at fuel for every time, it's going to be a problem. At every station. Maybe I'm meant to miss some of them. It does obviously slow you down a bit. This feels more like a Data East game to me for some reason. There we go, checkpoint. Check, racer A. Done free stage. This is the race stage, isn't it? I think this is where it is going to use the split screen effect. Yeah, you see. As soon as the second player is up there, it splits the screen so you can see where the second player is. So, you know, it's gone from racing against the clock to actually racing another player. And they've got their stats there as if it was a 2-player game. So that is the structure of it. Unfortunately, it's actually quite tricky. You both refueling? I think there was a... Once you only got half the screen, it becomes much trickier to dodge things because you get far less warning. You've got to have lightning reflexes. The computer has crashed though. Well, I've crashed too. But yes, you get this versus race, and then you know I'm at the top now because I'm in front. So it flips you around when you're in front. The leading player is always at the top of the screen. So you know if you're in the lead because you'll be at the top. But if you don't know it does that, and you suddenly go, you start wondering where's your player gone. Yeah, that caught me out the first time I played it. It's like, what's happened? I can't see my player anymore. Are they going to fuel? No, they're going straight past the fuel and racing to the finish line before me, I think. I'm going to have to hope they crash. And run out of time anyway. Ran out of time. So yeah, space position. Probably not a favourite, but one I find interesting because it does have the split screen hardware, where the top and bottom of the screen use different tile maps. And that's not something you see all that often. In fact, I think it's the only piece of hardware I can think of that has this effect. And it runs this in Angel Kids. I say, unless you want that split screen effect, it's a waste of hardware. But for the two games that use it, the split screen effect is necessary and quite effective. So if you want a game with, you know, your standard race mode and then a versus computer mode from this point of view, yeah, this is one to check out. Hey Aussie Guy, welcome, welcome, welcome. I see you have made a Twitch account. It's good to see you. Aussie Guy is one of our regulars on YouTube who often comes in with the facts about the companies that make the games and the games themselves, and so it's great to have you along, Aussie Guy. Yeah, it's I think it's developed by Nasco, not Sega. Sega would have just published it, I'd imagine. Probably why you can't find much about it, Mr. Fun Guy, but Aussie Guy probably knows a lot more. And also thank you for following Aussie Guy. So yes, anyway, this stream, I don't know how long we'll be going on for this one though, because I'm trying to keep these ones around 2 hours, and we are now on 1 hour 45. But yes, next game. Let's go for another non-arcade one. Let's play. Yeah. Let's go for a bit of Game Gear action. Let's play Aerial Assault on the Game Gear. MAME's Sega emulation in general is pretty good. Game Gear, I'm starting to see that the Game Gear is actually really underrated. You could easily just assume it's got the same games as the Master System, but it doesn't. It has loads of games that didn't even come out on the Master System, and some of them aren't all that bad. And visually it's a bit nicer than the Master System because it's got a better palette. In fact, I think the Game Gear's got a better palette than the Mega Drive, which is weird, but that's just how it is. In terms of, you know, the actual colours you can choose from. You can't display as many on screen at the same time as the Mega Drive because it's still a Master System VDP under the hood, well, a modified one. But I think it actually has a better range of palette to choose from, so you can get more shades of blue and more shades of red and everything like that you can on a Mega Drive, even though this was the handheld system. Yep, there we go. Aussie Guy with the facts about Nasco. I'm sure you put these facts in before, but I never quite remember. Nasco was the trade name for Ohira Gaiken, and they had a related company, Wave, who made the Ashita no Joe games. Those Ashita no Joe games weren't the best. I think Lord BB-8 should actually complete the Ashita no Joe game, the standalone, not Neo Geo one, the other day, because on his one CC BB-8 streams, because I saw an upload on YouTube from him, and he does try and do that on his streams. He would try and he'll practice on games and try and do 1 credit clears of them, and spend evenings trying to do that. I don't try and do that because it would never happen. You saw how not improved my attempts to surprise attack were. I just kept dying in the same place. But Lord BB-8 tends to learn quickly from his mistakes and figures out how these games work and all the strategies, and he does a lot of good videos. I think he records them on Twitch and puts the highlights on YouTube. So, result. Result with 2 exclamation marks like that makes it think that I think I've done a good thing, like when you scream result at somebody because they got what they wanted. Instead, no, I just died. This will be a power one. The rate of fire is a little bit low. So you have to take care and aim carefully, not just fire bullets at everything, otherwise you'll be stuck. Unable to take things down. Speed helps though. Yeah, a bit of Game Gear I thought would be nice. I've got a whole list of Game Gear games to do at one point. It's one of those systems where I think I'll have to do a dedicated stream for Game Gear. Don't know when. This game you get points just by surviving. I kind of like getting points just for surviving. I'm assuming it's not like some of the NMK games, which one, Hacha Meta Fighter, where if you push against the right of the screen, you get even more points. Basically, if you take the risk of not being able to see anything in Hacha Mecha Fighter, you get more points. But that'd be a good game to play, wouldn't it? You might have to do that next. You might have to do that one next. Right. Here we go. Oh, no, I've lost my speed up now, so I'm going to struggle. Like many shooters, once you lose your speed up, it gets tough. I think I'd have liked this game to have done a bit more. It doesn't seem to be evolving much. Now I've got a different weapon. Oh, they're homing shots. That's kind of fancy. I'm getting kind of cut down airbuster vibes from this. But some of these enemies, yeah, once you're at the slowest speed, they're very difficult to avoid. A bit of a nice day-night cycle there. It gets darker. I'm not going to look at that one. I guess just because it's very blue and you're flying over a city, which is the general look that Airbuster has. The Kaneko game. Airbuster. That has a very blue skyscape and horizontal scroll. Ooh, now my ship's looking all fancy. This was developed by S-Plan for Sega. The other shoot 'em up I can think of with plan in the name is X-Plan, the Semicom gambling game, and that's a bad one. That's a stealth game. Well, you know, it's a shooting game that's meant to hide a gambling game. It's terrible. But S-Plan, not X-Plan. What else did S-Plan do for Sega? Do you know, Aussie guy? Oh, we've got a different weapon now. Obviously, this is a handheld shooter, and if you consider the Game Gear screen, it was very blurry, so you don't want anything to be moving too quickly on the Game Gear screen, otherwise it becomes unplayable. So I think the pacing is about right for a handheld shooter. I tried playing Sonic on a Game Gear, and you could only really see what was happening when you stood still. Can I go with some water now? Last life. When we do lose this life, I will probably move on to another game. We can hold down fire, actually. I've been tapping fire, but apparently we can hold down fire. Also, I think this is a shield on the front of the ship. I seem to be able to absorb bullets. Oh, well, I could absorb bullets, but then I crashed. Never mind. The mission is a disaster. Well, yeah, that's one way of putting it. Aerial assault, fairly by the numbers shooter, but for a little handheld shooter, I think you get some enjoyment out of it. 1992 feels a little late, but you've got to consider that, you know, these handheld systems had this capability around that time. They weren't really things of the 80s the same way that the consoles were. They did the space version, the Game Gear version of Space Harrier. I've not played that one, and Woody Pop. Woody Pop's alright. Woody Pop's one of the ones that can use the dial, isn't it? Paddle thing, I think. Arkanoid type thing. I seem to remember enjoying that one. But yeah, I mentioned Hacha Mecha Fighter. Is the set the not working set? Yeah, you have to run. Is it unprotected bootleg Yeah, okay, this will do. So, Hacha Mecha Fight. This one's quiet again. Put the volume up a bit. So, when you're playing this one, make sure to set it to Japanese because that turns up the wackiness to 10. It's got a very different style for some of the graphics when it's on Japanese mode, so that's just a little tip. But let's see, what's a nice part? But yes, you get points for pushing against the side of the screen. But if you know all the enemy paths, you know where they're going to go, and you want to fly right against the side of the screen, that is how you get more points in this game. Unfortunately, if you don't know all the enemy patterns, it just gets you killed. It's like super risk reward. It's not just a case of you get more points for here or here. You get points for literally pushing against the side of the screen where everything's spawning in. Which is very, very silly. I don't know who thought that was a good idea, but the whole game's quite silly. Rainbowy sunset effects. Well, Eatman was performed by Sanritsu staff. Originally named Shimada Hikaku. Oh, I don't know how to say that. Hikaku? This one is a bit of a hidden gem. I mean, it's not an NMK game many people know about. It's one of those that unfortunately does lose all its steam after a few stages because it just starts recycling content. But if you just want to blast a couple of stages of this, it is a good fun one. A very stylish one. But you will start to see the same enemies and the same sort of layouts and graphics just recoloured after a while. Keep the monkey in the air and get the bananas. Yeah, you can just monkey in the air for a while, aren't they? Every time you shoot the monkey drops a banana. Until you drop the chain of monkey bananas. It's another way of getting more points. I don't know if it's worth it compared to other scoring schemes. Now I'm juggling two monkeys. Dual monkeying. Oh, but then I crashed into the monkeys. Don't crash into the monkeys. Yeah, because it would so badly at start. I've got ridiculous fish weapons. Bye, piggies. Go back and play Buttersan a bit more. They did look like the Buttersan piggies. I mean, they are NMK pigs. Now you see we've got a similar parallax with the ocean, but the animated layer on the ocean too. I see, very, very, very stylish game. And that's kind of the appeal. Beautiful purpley tropical sky, islands. Oh yeah, the effects when you drop in the water. If you die or anything drops in the water, it goes splash. See? Splash. Now I'm firing crabs at the dolphins. Back to fish. Yeah, the art direction is definitely on the weird side. Also, I can fill up the screen with my bullets. I don't think this is a winning strategy though, but you know, for a little bit. For a little bit. It looks a bit like a pistol dying. That's got the same sort of over-the-top animate. It's got the same style of water in it. I seem to remember it as. It's another very obscure game, that Namco one. I think that was also a Japanese-only release. Have I played that on stream? I don't know. Maybe I should play it on stream. Because yes, I definitely see what you mean about the art style. I get bonus again, get flowers. And, more dolphins. problem in Namco games is you've always got that risk of the tunes being flagged up. YouTube couldn't even filter out the music for outboxes. It's just like, no, can't show this in certain countries or monetize this or whatever. It's like Namco or whoever owns Namco Music. Unfortunately, that's one of the issues with streaming Namco games. So I may look at that one though. And I'm not too bothered about it. It's when they start blocking it in regions because the music gets annoying. Because I don't want people to not be able to watch videos because they've been blocked. Because that defeats the point of highlighting less common games. You think that one's safe? Hopefully, I'll have a look at it then. I mean, on the Amstrad CPC stream, the intro to the Amstrad CPC new port of R-Type got flagged up. Of all the things that could be flagged up, that one got flagged up. Anyway, there you go. So, Hacha Mecha Fighter from NMK. Yeah, it's a very odd game with a very distinctive art style and one of those, you know, what the hell type of well, one of those, but definitely worth checking out if that's your thing. I do enjoy it. It's not the strongest shooter in the world, but it has enough going on to stand out. But yeah, play one of the clone sets because the Protection MCU also, I believe, handles the sound communication with the sound MCU. So the sets where the MCU isn't dumped, the Protection MCU isn't dumped, don't quite work properly with the sound because the MCU's talks to an MCU, and while the sound MCU's dumped, the other one isn't, so the communication doesn't work. But this conversion set does work. I think there's a prototype set that basically plays the same that works too. Yeah, the PS1 music gets flagged. The Sonic intro gets flagged as well, and things like that. I think some Golden Axe music now gets flagged because somebody released a CD with some Sega music in their mixes, and they trying to claim copyright whenever that Sega music's used, and it's really stupid. Unfortunately, there's no option in YouTube to select the person claiming this music does not own this music. This music is owned by Sega. So this is the one that was mentioned as having a similar visual style. Pistol Daimyo no Bouken. A Namco game on System 2 hardware. I think Namco System 2. There you go. The wave, I think, is the wave and the you can see the similarity. So let's try and play it. I think I may have tried to play this before and not very far at all, but we'll see. This is a little bit loud than the other one. Let's turn the volume slightly back down. Select something. Okay. Ultra B's getting flagged, yeah. It's ridiculous. YouTube really need to do something about it. Okay, so you hold down the button, you can fire upwards. Otherwise, you fire in front of you. Hello, giant foot. Secondary fire pump now. No, I don't think I've played this on the stream before. So, I don't understand the structure of it. I think it picks a lot of hits, I can tell you that much. I've got a card, I'm seeing... Is that a parrot? Does it act like a parrot? Why is it a giant hand? Green fingernails. Don't know what it says. Probably ha ha ha, bite me or die. I'll do both. But yes, it's not quite as over-the-top cartoony as Hacha Divider. It does have a very weird style. I was not expecting that term. This is a System 1 game. Yeah, it looks more like a System 2 game. But I guess it doesn't have the rotation and zooming, so yeah. It maybe is a bit primitive looking for System 2. For some reason in my head I thought it was. So yes, System 1. That's quite the CPU setup. So, is that a level select at the start? Have I reset? Yeah, sorry, Namco System 1. You are correct, Mr. Fungi. I don't get how the whole card system works or what I'm doing here, or selecting that. So it's a different level. You select a different level. So we can have a look at different level routes. I wonder if it's a level select that you can turn on and off. But some Namco games have that. They have a level select that there's a dip switch to turn on and off. I think Pac-Mania is one of them, isn't it? Where you literally can select how many levels you can select. I don't remember. Is it like only the Japanese version has that? Namco did it in a few games. I suppose it does cater for the expert players who don't want to have to play the first few levels. Then if you're going for a high score, you have to anyway. There we go, Mr. Frog. Yeah, I do want to try and do a stream of some of the other music games, especially the bootleg ones that I've emulated at some point, you know, the weird Guitar Hero clones and things like that, but I know that half of that stream would be flagged, and it's like, we'll have to see. But no, I've never really sat down and played this one. That's why I got the hardware confused. I think Namco System 1's not that bad hardware. You've got things like Gallagher 88 on there that are also very impressive in the world. And, it's kind of funny because Namco's time lapse didn't advance that much apart from the rotation support. But even by the time they're doing sort of nebulous ray, well, nebulous ray looks like it's got all sorts of crazy effects going on in the backgrounds. Their raster effects on actually quite basic time lapse. I think they're still using sort of the System 1, System 2 era time lapse by that point, just pushing them, well, you know, using raster effects to give them fancy features rather than actually being super capable. I don't really know where is safe. I guess I've got to get the balls in the tornado. Feels like I'm playing that Astro Muses game for the second again. That's a puzzle game. That's aiming balls. This is a spin-off from Bravo Man, is it? I don't know. I didn't know that. I did not know that at all. So you learn something all the time. Again, Bravo Man's not really one I play that much. Not even one I associate with this style too much. Does anybody know what the cards do? Because they don't seem to be changing how my shots work or anything else. They don't seem to be acting as power-ups. So, I've not got a bomb option. Oh, got by here. Bug thing. Got another life? I'm happy. Right, so... Game over. Game over. Okay. Entirely Japanese high score entry 2. That's how you can tell a game was definitely designed for a Japanese audience. when even the high score table is like that. What else shall we look at? No, I'll save that one for another time. Let's have a look at. Ooh. Do I really want to? Okay, let's have a look at something that is a bit unusual. This is another Soviet or Russian type system. This was sold as a console, I believe, with a cartridge, but there's only ever one cartridge released, and it's from 1990, and it runs on a 2 megahertz 8080. So prepare yourself for the worst. It contains probably a number of games that you might be able to play. Oh look, it's got a very basic ball breaker game in. So this is what you could buy at home in a Soviet country to plug into your TV in about 1990. It's a little bit primitive. I mean, you know, it kind of reminds me of that Polyplay thing, but worse. Except this was for buying at home and playing at home. Yeah, there doesn't appear to be any sound emulation either. Or maybe it just had no sound. Maybe this was your premium 1990s experience. I'm not sure. Maybe this was your budget 1990s experience. I really don't know where this would have fit in the grand scheme of things, but okay. Yeah, so I press the button twice, I can quit out that game. And I can play this game instead. What's this game? Oh, look. It's Snake. Wonderful. Now, I say this is meant to use cartridges, but as far as people know, there's only one cartridge for it. So it's not set up as a software list or anything like that in MAME. It's just set up as a system you can run. Fantastic, isn't it? What's it called? Krokha. I'm sure that's not even the correct pronunciation. But yeah, if you want to play black and white Snake, there you go. I don't especially want to play black and white Snake. Was that Snake? Oh no, what was this one? Oh, okay, it's a Kicks clone. That's not what I was expecting. Of all the things I thought maybe be on here, a Kicks clone was not top of the list. I can't think of many tile-based Kicks clones, to be honest. Okay, maybe the unit has somewhat redeemed itself. We've got a game that moves at a decent pace. I mean, I'm not saying go out and play it. Oh, you can move anywhere in the field, though, so it's not quite Kicks. You don't have to move around the lines. You do have free movement in the area you've cleared out. I mean, yeah, for 1990, this is bad, but it probably was all you could get or something. How much do I have to actually fill in to complete the level? Come on, guys. So why is this part not filled in? Is it literally impossible? Just a little guy kill you? No. So why is this part not filled in? Come on. Maybe it's not redeemed. I would have thought the level would have ended by now. It's not going to end, is it? No. Okay, it seems to be a Kicks game without a win condition. Yeah, there's no sound emulation from what I can tell, unless the sound emulation is broken or it had no sound. It says speaker and filtered DAC, but it's not outputting anything at least. So unless the sound is broken and used to work, I don't know. Oh, what we got? Oh, okay. Now we can shoot down some This is awkward. It keeps moving until you change. It keeps moving until you press down or a different direction. And blow up some helicopters. Yay. Again, are we going for probably the first time this has been streamed on Twitch too? Because I don't think anybody else is going to have been playing this. So, for some reason I remember this having sound emulation, but I could be just thinking of something else. I mean, I thought there were some beeps, but I'm hearing nothing. No, it's Sky Shooter, yeah. Sky Shooter, is that an intentional word pun on the fact you're shooting things in the sky? Or just coincidence? Because Sky Shooter sounds like Sky Shooter. Yeah, it's not very good. And it's silent. So I think we'll move on from that. In fact, maybe we'll pass. Korean game from Oksan in 1992. It's like Go Go Mile Smile and Anteater. Bit loud, this one. This is another one I emulated back in the day. It's one of those pieces of hardware that has no sprites at all. Spriteless hardware. But it's no sprites, but 256 colour tiles. It's entirely a 256 colour tile map. And obviously, it's a Korean game. Tumble pop sound effects. Yeah, they are definitely tumble pop sound effects. Tumble pop. I don't know if people in Korea, budding game developers, just studied tumble pop. But you know, tumble pop hardware being cloned for so many games. Tumble pop sound effects being stolen for so many games. Well, stage 1 clear. Bonus. But I guess the concept must have been popular enough because, you know, then we had that Go Go Mile Smile game from Fuki, which is basically this, but a lot better, and that was cloned on loads of stuff. But it's Anteater, but I think Anteater's the better game, because Anteater you've always got to... Well, Anteater is simpler, but the risk-reward works a bit differently. Unless you play Anteater, it's difficult to describe. This feels like you're not pressured quite as much. I mean, look, there's only an enemy over there. I can just do loads of things. I'm not just going to get ants walking from the side very quickly, like in Anteater. Unfortunately, the controls here are really fiddly. Okay, that one did spawn in a little bit close there. Player end. Yes, we'll continue later. So, yeah, this one I found really surprising at the time, because I guess just the fact it's got no sprites and it's got this 8 BPP tiles, 256 colours. It's such an odd hardware design. It can display more colours than a Mega Drive, but it has no sprites. It just has this one tile up there. Maybe... I mean, why would you design hardware like that? Unless you're making a gambling game where you don't need sprites. I don't know. But I guess this is kind of early Korean arcade history too. I mean, it's before a lot of the better quality titles, but it's also an original game, in the sense that it's not just stolen codes, bootleg code. And there weren't that many original Korean games at the time. Most of them were just bootlegs. Backed up other games. Got a number of themes, as you can see. Anteater was developed by Stern for Tego Electronics. Oh, I thought it was developed by Tego for Stern. I'm getting confused on Anteater. You are probably right though, Aussie guy. For some reason I had it the other way around in my head. Me Stern were always the publisher. Yeah, bizarre sampled music. Is it sampled? No, actually, it does have a YM chip. It's not just one of those that use samples. It does have a proper YM chip. So, yeah, it's actually sequence music, which is a bit different for Korea, because most of their games were just the OPI and loop samples. Anyway, that's a bit of pass. Right. So, how does this work? Now, okay. Let's quit. Look at that face. High score. That's Oksan. The Oksan string is in a lot of the later Korean games by F2 Systems as well. Interestingly. So, I think, yeah, we've been doing 2 hours 20 minutes, but as you say, I'm trying to keep these ones around 2 hours. Shall I try and have a little play with some different features on here then? Because I'm on Twitch. So Twitch has a raid feature. So let's see if we can do a raid. Let's go and raid Kim Justice, because she is probably playing Mega Drive games. She is. So, right, thank you everybody who's been here. We're going to see if this raid works. Thank you. It's been good. Lots of news followers today. So I'm glad to see new followers. I'm glad to see people maybe moving over, or not moving over, but also joining here from the YouTube side of things. And so let's hit this raid button and see what happens. Thank you, everybody. And I don't know how this works, so we will have to see. It says ready to raid in 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's see if this works or not. Let's press raid now and see what happens. See if it done anything. Has it done anything? Did that actually work? Because I'm not seeing anything on my screen to suggest it worked. I guess it did. It says Kim Justice gave me a shout out, even though I can't see Kim Justice's stream. But anyway, I will stop streaming